What's up, folks? I wanted to talk about the Crucible passive tree smashing system, a combining system. This is something Lance just made a video on. I've been messing with this for quite a while, and I ended up not making a video on it at the time because I just wasn't getting around to it. But there's a couple nuances that I wanted to add in addition to his video. His video goes over the idea that Crucible passives do not change their locations, and this is very true. This is something you have to keep in mind. So the node like here, then this location will never move to another location. So if this node is smashed together, it will never move here or anywhere else. It won't move here, it won't move between the tiers, because tier 3 and tier 4 share the same nodes, but it won't move between the tiers. It will always stay in this location here. So on the final tree, it is right here when smashed together. This is the base that I'm smashing to. This is the sacrificial piece. This is the final node that you get from it. I had to create 30 wands or so to try to generate this minion wand that I was working on, which was a hellish task because this base does not exist on the market. No one is smashing these, so I had to pick and choose my nodes very carefully, and that's where this kind of experiment came from. Number 2, pathway creation or pathway deletion. I have no idea what dictates that at this time. It seems that it is kind of throw of the dice to whether or not you get a path created or deleted. So in this case, I have a path here, but the path then disappears in the final item for whatever reason. And in some cases, paths are created. In some cases, you can smash together 5 items and never make a path for some reason. I have no idea why. That is purely RNG. I don't think there is anything we can do about it unless specific nodes are more likely to connect to other nodes or carry over from the other trees or something. Who knows? Node carrying but node passive stuff, that's just weird. I don't know what to do about that one yet. The other thing is you can gain nodes. So here we're smashing to this base from this sacrificial piece, and we actually do gain a 10 node tree. I thought this wasn't possible, but I did finally get one to happen where the node count went up. So apparently it is possible. I just don't really understand what dictates it. In every other case, I always went to the number of nodes on the highest item or -1. So maybe it's the same case as the upgrade system, where it is a 1 in 4 for it to maybe gain a node. I'm not entirely sure, but about 1 in 4 of them, I did see that they gained either upgrades or downgrades to their nodes. So if you're going for, let's say, one of the deck stacking ones and you're hoping to have it upgrade to that, I think it's about a 1 in 4 chance for it to happen. Not entirely sure if that's the case, but so far from my experimentations, 1 in 4 fits the bill. The same thing for, let's say, do I have an example of losing all nodes? So like this one, 8 and 9 smashed together. So 9 and 9, there's about a 1 in 4 chance of losing all your nodes. So I smashed 9 and 9 together, and I ended up with a 5. So that's like the brick roll, I would say, the val roll of the Crucible system is you do get basically them smashed together and you lose a bunch of nodes. And then from there, as you can tell from these are color coded because these were the first sets. You do have a pretty good chance of basically going 50-50, unless you're using what is going on here, which is the overlapping system, where basically if you have nodes that are similar in some ways, or the same node. So let's go back to when I finished the tree. So this one here, in this scenario, I had, this is what I wanted on this tree. And so I had this node and this node here be the same. So this is 3 nodes that I want, and this is 2 nodes that I want, and I'm smashing them together to hopefully get all the nodes together, which actually did happening. So when you're going into splitting or imprinting and that nature, one, be careful of splitting your main weapon, or the base you're moving to, because then you can't split it again if you do get what you want. So you always want to feed in split items. And when it comes to imprinting, you don't really want to imprint something that isn't at least 3 modifiers you already want in terms of cost, depending on what you're working on. Because I find it a lot easier, even with my like crap bases that I couldn't buy, to basically use the 1-2-2-2 method, which is get a node on the item you want, and then smash it with another node that you want. So this is now two nodes on one tree. And then get another item you want, and then smash it with another node you want. So you're putting on this node here. So this is now 2 nodes you want, but they overlap on the first node. And this is, for me, the first node was the most important because it was one of the primary nodes that I needed. So you want it to overlap on the primary node. And so that way, when you're combining it, you're combining 2 and 2 with 1 overlap. So you have a much greater chance of getting a 3. In total, and that was one of the things that I really worked on, is getting those overlaps. And once you have a 3, that's probably when it's worth imprinting, depending on how much annoyances you get, because then you can imprint, you have a backup of your 3 base, and you can keep adding using another 2 base, so another one that has 2 nodes, one identical to the 3 that you have, and then one that you want to add in. That way you have a better chance of it. So you only have to make a 2 node one, split it if you really want to pay the price for that, if it's like a rare node or something like that. If it's an easy base that you can get more, you don't have to split it, and you can just keep feeding into the imprint until you get them. And then the final thing of note is that when you are doing, let's see, where is an example of this? When you are doing the pathing for something like this, if you wanted to use a sacrificial set of nodes and add them together, what you could do is you can spec the nodes you want, and then let's say you wanted this node here specifically so that you can connect through here. You can try to go for that, right? So you do the nodes you want these nodes here on the back end, and you want maybe like the starting node, but you'd rather connect through here. So what you do is you level this one up through here, and then you level this one down, so you're more likely to get these ones here, like I did here, and then you can connect through them, right? So you can connect through the nodes you want and ignore the nodes you don't want. You never want to overlap the ones that you want with 2 that are leveled. So I wouldn't have wanted to go down through this way because I want this node instead. It shifts the balance to maybe 70, 30, 60, 40, somewhere in there for you to get the node that you're spec'd into. So if you're going to go through this way, this is a sacrificial node. Go through this way, these are nodes that you actually want, and then you can combine them and hope you get this pathing here. Like I said, this once again comes down to whether or not the connections actually stay. So in this case, I lost a connection here. So if I wanted to connect through this way, I couldn't, and I'd have to redo it, but I could connect through this way. So be mindful of what you're leveling in terms of what you're adding together and what you're losing, because you can spec around a node to still kind of have it on your tree, but it's not a node you want, while also specking the nodes you want and then having them reconnect. So this is probably the best example of I don't want these nodes, I want these nodes. These nodes stayed, but I can connect through here instead. So that's just a couple little things I learned while doing it. I've got a lot of this stuff where I've been smashing these together for quite a while, just trying to make my wand, and it was hellish, but that's the League mechanic, and good luck smashing.